Family members and friends of the late Paul Adderley gathered at the Progressive Liberal Party headquarters on Farrington Road last evening for a memorial service held in honor of the nation builder. It was one of several events slated for this week to honor the national hero. Cyanne Thompson was there.
A legend in his own right, the late Paul L. Adderley will go down in Bahamian history as one of the greatest legal minds and one of the guardians of Bahamian heritage. Tribute after tribute, those who knew him saluted the Bahamian giant for his contribution. PLP Chairman Bradley Roberts called Mr. Adderley a legal scholar, having served as a member of the Bahamas Bar for almost 60 years. He was referred to as a formidable debater in the halls of Parliament, whose character and reputation as a public servant were above reproach. Among the many roles, businessman Franklin Wilson remembered Mr. Adderley as a family man.
This was a man who understood fatherhood and husbandhood. Fatherhood and husbandhood. A wonderful role model for people of my generation and younger.
For 10 years, Reverend Dr. James Moutry worked closely with Adderley in the ministries of Foreign Affairs and Education. Moutry states that Adderley's passion for education was very evident.
You can't graduate with a 1 point or less. What's the point walking and you know what he used to say? And you have nothing in your head. But if we had followed his advice, he was a tremendous minister of education.
Broadcaster Charles Carter, in his tribute, urged noted Bahamians to record their history so that others can be more aware of our forefathers' rich legacy. Former Governor General, the Honorable A.D. Hanna, echoed these sentiments.
Unfortunately, he left us and with a lot of part of the history of our country that we'll never know, and that has gone on. But Bahamians don't want to know the history. They're not interested in it. In fact, I sometimes think they're ashamed of it. But you cannot be ashamed of your history because your history is part of you.
Deputy Prime Minister, the Honorable Philip Davis, and Prime Minister, the Right Honorable Perry Christie, also paying tribute to the Bahamian great.
From years past, men and women who served in Parliament with Paul would recall the incisiveness of his mind in matters that ranged the gamut of concerns. One always knew that a question to him on any matter which began with the phrase, "Paul, what do you think about?" would produce a thoughtful response that sometimes was cheeky, but always containing useful material.
This man never stopped building himself. He was an exemplar of a kind where no matter what your age, what your station, what your level of accomplishment, he kept on trying to improve himself. I mean, a wonderful example of that kind of effort. That carried over into his legal practice. Clearly, every one of us said he was a man of absolute legal brilliance.
The state funeral for Mr. Adderley will be held this Friday at 11 a.m. at Christ Church Cathedral. The ZNS Network will be carrying live coverage of the service. I'm Cyanne Thompson, ZNS Network News.
We continue our Remembering Paul Adderley segment with a tribute from another of his colleagues, Mrs. Willa Mae Thompson. She hailed Mr. Adderley as a visionary and touted his many accomplishments, especially in the field of education. But above all, Thompson always remembered his words of encouragement. She said Mr. Adderley should be remembered as a Bahamian legend.
I know that there is some time or the other that we are going to have our persons in the Hall of Fame. Well, he should be one of those because he was an outstanding educator, an outstanding lawyer, an outstanding administrator, an outstanding politician, one who was proud to be a politician in the true sense of the word, to serve others, and in serving, to be able to not only serve, but to seek to encourage others to serve and serve well.